Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats.
Sometimes it's the music that's the thing. And if you're within the sound of my voice, that must mean that you're in the seats with once more. As always, my name is Dave Voigt, and I'm the host of this audio only experience podcast where we sit down with a wide ranging variety of entertainment industry professionals. We pick their brain about current projects, state of the industry, how they got started, and so very much more. And I like to know in a conversational fashion. If you like how we do things around here, I will assume that you do because you're listening. So please keep listening and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button, gives you a 5-star rating on your podcast provider of choice. We're available pretty much everywhere. Places like Apple, Amazon, Spotify, Google, and plus we archive every single one of our episodes over at our In the Seats YouTube channel. So if you can give us a like and subscribe there as well, we'd absolutely appreciate it. Also, don't hesitate to check us out on social media. We're on the Facebook, the Twitter, the Instagram, Letterboxd, the TikTok, the Blue Sky, the Threads, and probably several others at In the Seats for all sorts of fun updates. And finally, and I do dare say most importantly, please pay us a visit over at In the Seats, intheseats.ca for all the latest and greatest from the world of film, television, basically the moving image at large. Because guess what? We love to watch it and write about it and talk about it. We love it all that much more when you come by and read about it and listen about it. So please do us that ultimate kindness. Come on by and pay us a visit. While he may have been born Brett Leland McLaughlin, people just know him as Leland. And it's an interesting guy, man, because we talked to the man who is behind all of the campy, spoof, musical number stuff that has gone into the Rupaul universe from all the shows. And it was a delight talking to him, man. He was an absolute hoot. And I mean, we got some real insight on just sort of the creativity of being allowed to participate in the RuPaul's Drag Race world. And just craft this amazingly entertaining and fun stuff, man. He gave us some insight just on working with Rue, and I guess sort of the flow of creativity to try to make these songs and dealing with these queens and just being able to really sort of let it fly as much as humanly possible. And I mean, I think that's what makes RuPaul's Drag Race just so goddamn entertaining. And I mean, I think the music's a big part of that. But if you haven't already figured it out, it is Emmy Awards season, and reality shows count. They do count. So pay attention to that stuff. But if you're not watching RuPaul's Drag Race or any iteration thereof, stop what you're doing and go find an episode because goddamn, it's a hoot. But first, enjoy our talk with the man behind the music when it comes to RuPaul's Drag Race, Leland, because it was a darn good talk. And enjoy that show and enjoy this, and we'll see you soon. All right, Leland, man, how you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Thanks for the time, man. I appreciate this.
Of course, happy to be doing it.
Now, I mean, obviously, congrats on all your work on the show, man. I mean, it's absolutely wild, and I mean, I think that kind of dovetails into the first question I got to ask. It kind of feels like going to work for Rue would be the equivalent of going to work for Willy Wonka in many ways. Just sort of going down that rabbit hole. Walk me through sort of those early days of getting involved in this universe, which has grown to such heights that I mean, I can imagine people even working there don't believe it.
Yeah, I feel so incredibly lucky to be a part of this family, and it very much feels like one. And I sort of organically found myself in this position of just being able to observe the initial chapter of the show, the initial iteration of the show, where Sissy That Walk was being recorded, Glamazonian Airways was being made, and I got because I was just friends, really good friends with our friend Lucian, who sort of laid the blueprint for what a lot of the show is musically. I was there hanging and observing and soaking it all up and learning. And so, I comedy has always been an important part of my creative outlet and things that I gravitate towards as a fan. So it feels like I've slowly been taking or developing all the right instincts and all the right influences to be able to do this job. So the early days were just incredibly special, but it's been fun to grow with the show and evolve with the show. And yeah, I'm now going on maybe like 9 or 10 years of being involved. So it's such a joy to see the show grow and reach new audiences every single season.
Is that why your job title is music? Because it does feel like you sort of have, by the sounds of it, you've got your sort of fingers in sort of all aspects of anything music when it comes to this show.
Yeah, I would say I share the responsibility of the musicals and the girl groups with Dave Steinberg. We sort
Yeah,
of know when each of us is right for a particular thing,
right.
and I don't think either of us are precious about that. It's really lovely to see what someone else does with this because it's such a specific type of work and assignment. So yeah, but at this point, my job description, I would say, is like make Rue laugh. And I think when you make Rue laugh, you then get to make everyone else laugh. So that's really always the goal is like make Rue laugh. Of course, start by making myself laugh. But yeah, whatever music is needed, I love working with the Queens on finale songs. I love wherever this adventure goes, I am down to follow it, whether it's on Stop That Train or the Vegas show or Drag Race UK or Drag Race Down Under or Queen of the Universe. It's being a part of the thread of the show and music has led me to so many fun experiences within the World of Wonder umbrella.
Well, and I mean I think that leads to my next question because I mean I'm laughing my ass off, but I'm also shaking my ass. And I mean it's one of those things where you have to thread a very fine line to make something that's so genuinely funny but also danceable. And I mean that's not an easy art.
I think the secret is it should really be good.
Yeah.
Most importantly, it should be good. It should be good songwriting. It should be good quality music production. It should sound expensive. It can be the dumbest lyric in the world. It can be noises. It could even be no, there could even be no lyrics. It could be like just noises and grunts or moans or anything. But as long as it's good, then I think we're in the right place. I think once you zoom out, and if it's a good song, whether it's again, the dumbest thing in the world, I think that's what helps it cut through. And I think that's also what helps us stay consistent when every year we're trying to raise the bar. And sometimes by raising the bar, you have to do the dumbest thing. But the secret is it should still be good quality.
How do you think the show has evolved sort of in your time span? Because obviously there's so many different offshoots, but I mean, again, it's one of those things where it does feel like this pop culture phenomenon that has become more and more broadly accepted across the globe as this joyous celebration of not just drag culture, but just pure fucking entertainment.
Yeah, I mean, I think what the one of the things about Drag Race that is so beautiful and powerful is that it's holding a mirror up to society and
Mm.
it's reminding people this is the joy you can experience when you are yourself. When you have stripped yourself away of all the stereotypes that society presses upon us or think or the box that society tells us we need to fit inside. But when you are um, activating your true self and your expression and just not operating from a place of fear, this is the fun that you can have, this is the joy that you can have, this is the laughter that you can have also, and this is the story that you can tell, so I think why people respond to it and why new fans respond to it is that it really is a beautiful example of the joy that you can experience when you are operating from a place of fearlessness and just being yourself, whatever that looks like, whether it is doing drag or whatever that looks like to you. Being yourself is being free, and so I think Drag Race offers this antidote of freedom in such a time when everyone needs to know who are you and what are you, and this is like freedom.
Do you think that's something that translates through your work? Because I mean, I think it's something like the run of Love Victor, which I mean, obviously there's some similar themes to like what you're talking about, but it's obviously a little less flamboyant.
Mhm. Yeah, I think we're always looking for a way to sneak queer culture into mainstream culture. It's not, I would say, ever on purpose, but when it does happen, it's so funny and wonderful, whether it's Bloom with Troy Sivan, where I guarantee you quite a few people singing that song have no idea what it's about, or Rush by Troy Sivan, where quite a few people singing that song have no idea what it's about. But I think that's the beauty of it, is that we can make something that can transcend culture, and the audience that it's intended for knows what it's about, and then it's also nice when it reaches an audience that it wasn't really intended for. So I think as a queer creative, I have always had to, um, I would say, like, sneak into certain rooms or sneak into pop culture through ways that feel authentic to me. And Drag Race has been such an amazing vehicle for that. Even during COVID, when I was working on Drag Race UK, and we had a song called UK Hun that ended up being top 10 in the UK, like, and not on a sub chart, not on some small chart, but on the main
Right.
UK chart. There was our song UK Hun. And just another example of people connect to these songs whether they know what they're about or whether they're not about anything and just fun to sing. I think the absurdity of a lot of this, of the music in Drag Race, to me, connects to a song like Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious from Mary Poppins. That to
Totally.
me
Yeah.
has always been such a clear reference of the type of energy we want to replicate in the music of this show.
Is there a gatekeeper, like when you're putting stuff together and presenting stuff? Because I mean, again, I mean, I even think back to something like Kardashian the musical, and I'm just like,
Yes.
oh my God, and I just, I put my hand up and I just start laughing. I'm like, is there a line, or like, are you encouraged to sort of bend that line when it comes to
We
sort of doing satirical pieces?
Yeah, we are, and I am absolutely encouraged to just go with my gut. And I think there is this collective group of people where it's moving and living and breathing, and we all respond to it. It's just like when you're in the room writing a song, the room can feel what is right for this song, whether it's a lyric or a melody, and what is sort of like best idea wins. Obviously, that is subjective, but it's a feeling that you can feel in the room. What is the funniest version? There's never really an issue of like going too far, because we're never going to go too far for the sake of shock value, or
Yeah.
for the sake of just going too far. It all has to be with intention. It all has to be funny. But what I loved in particular about Kardashian the Rusical is I had been developing my Kourtney Kardashian impression for a very long time. And that came from catering Kim Kardashian's wedding to Chris Humphries. I was in the thick of it. I'm on the E Special holding a tray. So to go from catering Kim Kardashian's wedding to writing Kardashian the Rusical, and getting to do the voice of Kourtney Kardashian, it's all full circle, and it's all so fun, and it's all so Hollywood, and it's all so gay, and it's such a joy to have those full circle moments. But no, there's no gatekeeper. We are all chasing what is funniest and what is the smartest version, and sometimes the smartest version can be the dumbest version.
Well, and I mean that's brilliant. And I mean this it speaks of dedication to the craft, man, from catering to this. That's beautiful. I love that story. But I'm kind of curious, how does this job differ from when you're working with sort of a different artist? Because it really feels like, just in how you're explaining this to me, with working on the show, it's like, Leland, what do you want to do? Versus if you're working with an artist going, you have to ask them, okay, what do you want to do?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I have to remind myself that I am brought into these rooms for
Yeah,
my opinion and my thoughts.
right.
Otherwise, I wouldn't need to be there. So, um, it's learning to, over the years, continuing to trust myself, my instincts, what I find funny, and there used to be a bigger separation between my drag race life and my pop songwriting life, and now those worlds have completely blended into one. And I take what I've learned from drag race, and put it into pop music, and I take what I've learned from pop music and put into drag race. And there's no better example sometimes of when, Tom Campbell, our executive producer, will be like, there is a shortage of lip sync songs. We need more lip sync songs that have bridges, that have moments for the queens to perform. And so then I'll be like, I'll keep that in the back of my mind when I'm going into a session with someone like Demi Lovato. And I'm like thinking about that. And as we're putting these songs together, can I see a drag queen lip syncing to this song, whether it's on the main stage of RuPaul's Drag Race or whether it's the gay bar in Nashville, Tennessee, play dance bar where the queens are performing? I think that's always a good barometer. And then also from Drag Race, over the years, because Troy and I have such a close collaborative relationship and friendship, I will be playing him things as I'm working on them. And I'm just taking those pop songwriting instincts to make something catchy. And I think Nini Coco's song from the most recent Drag Race finale is such a great example of that, where we again, like you said, like threaded the needle of and rode that fine line of what is right for the show, but then what is also a pop song that everyone will resonate with. And so now the lines are blurred, and I get to take the best bits and that I've learned from working on everything, but the separation is no longer there. I mean, it's all just come together in the most beautiful way, and I just love that.
Well, and it's such a unique thing to navigate too, because I mean, I can imagine, on one end, like if you're working on a song for the show, you're gonna almost have a different creative path than say if you're in a session with Kylie Minogue or something. Like it's gonna
Hmm.
you're gonna have to have a different tact just in order to, I guess, get the job done. But at the same time, you still have to sort of bring what brought you to the dance, right?
That's exactly right. And I would say with Drag Race, a lot of the times it is very like we know we know the assignment, we know either the story or we know the theme or we know the pun, um, or we know, yeah, what the sort of like what the phrase is, and with pop songwriting, that's like a living and breathing thing where we're following the idea and maybe that uncovers a different idea and we can adapt to that. We don't know what the song is about sometimes until the song exists, and then you mess with it. Whereas Drag Race, if we're working on Kardashian the Rusical, or if we're working on Moulin Rouge, there is a framework there for us, and there is a blueprint there for us of I know how to put this together. Where with pop songwriting, I for artists, I'm not always. I really think that my strength is not contributing ideas that are down the middle when it comes to pop songwriting. I always, I would love my legacy to be like, oh, he always brought something a little weird, and sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't. But I would rather take the big swings. I do think that is a, something that applies to Drag Race and to pop songwriting or whatever I'm doing is I want to take the big swings. I would rather go down swinging than not taking risks with the songwriting, with the music, with the musicals. And so that is something I think I bring to the project no matter what I'm working on.
How do you think that has sort of shaped you as a musician? Because I mean, like you said, I mean, and I agree with you on the big swings. And I mean, the musicals are big swings. They're very big swings. I've got to imagine
Mhm.
those have shaped how you approach sort of the job of composing, not just for somebody else, but even for yourself.
Absolutely. I mean, I feel like we want my goal is always to make something that is going to cut through the noise. There
Yeah.
is so much music being released every single day. There are so many songs being written every single day. Um, and and I love the opportunity to fail. And I love the opportunity to succeed. And I would rather fail by taking a risk. I think, when I first started out songwriting, I really just wanted artists to record my songs. And so you will instinctively chase what is working at the time, but you're already behind if you're chasing. You're already behind. The songs that you're listening to that are influencing you were written 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago. So you're already behind if you're chasing a sound. So while I am a fan, such a massive fan of pop music of every genre, um, I have learned now to just create what feels right in the moment and to be a fan of music, but to not chase anything. And so that I think realization has allowed a lot of freedom and a lot of risk taking. And that is something that Troy and I love doing, that Demi and I love doing, that Adela and I love doing, that that I've done with Selena, risk taking, and it's definitely with Drag Race, but the uh the I would say, like, with Drag Race, I mean, Drag Race in itself was a big swing. And so that is sort of the ethos. Is like, let's create magic. And I think magic comes from taking risks.
No, and I mean, I think you're 100% right. And I mean, to me, that's the magic of the show because, and I mean, in this space that, in this universe that Rue has built, it it feels like it's a space where it's okay to fail, it's okay to fall on your face, but if you do it, you're going to do it as your true self, and you're going to figure that out, and that's okay. And
Hmm.
that's a message that needs to sort of get out there more and more, not only sort of in sort of, day-to-day walk of life, but even on the creative side of things, to be like, not everyone's going to have a top 10 hit the first time out. You got to try
Hmm.
shit, you got to fail, you got to put it out there and see what works. And then if it doesn't work, you try it again, and you try it again, and you try it again. Like, how do you think a show like this sort of speaks to sort of, I guess, the creative mind to be able to sort of understand sort of really sort of the persistence it takes to be involved in something like this and to do it right. It's not about sort of being this genius out of the gate. It's about throwing as much as you can against the wall and seeing what sticks.
Totally. And I will say, Drag Race is an anomaly where it is not normal to have a uh, show that has been on for as long as it's been on for, and to grow consistently every single year in the
Yeah.
way that it grows. And now to have queens who grew up watching the show are now competing on the show. So that is I am so lucky and blessed to have had a consistent home to grow as a person, as a songwriter, as a creative, to be mentored, to learn, to now be in a position to mentor. Um, I really am incredibly thankful for it. Drag Race is a one in a million, and that's why. But it's only that way because of Rue and because of the queens and because of the fearlessness. There is there's no other option but to be yourself,
Yeah.
and so I think because of that, we have been so lucky to find people that resonate with that message. But I recognize that I am so incredibly lucky to be a part of a show that is running for as long as it's been running for, with no signs of slowing down. And and everyone that I work with is constantly inspired and constantly bringing in things that they love. We get to parody things that we love, things that influenced us, and we get to parody it out of love, and that is such a gift. I do not know another show but maybe besides Saturday Night Live, where they work at the pace that we're working at,
Yeah.
and we are challenging our cast to go from doing an acting challenge one day to then learning a 10.5 minute musical the next day. They hear it, they record it, they rehearse it, they are fitted for costumes, they perform it. And that is, for these musicals to be successful in the way that they are, takes every single person from Rue to Tom Campbell to Michael Seligman to John Pauly to the Queens to the costumes to Nick, our director, to the production designers to the cameramen. I mean, it takes every single person operating at their highest level with the desire to achieve greatness, even if that greatness is rooted in, like, comedy and stupidity. However, it's also rooted in a desire to achieve greatness. And so I think it's the collective energy of everyone working at their highest level that allows us to execute these quickly, but with excellence.
No, and you know what? You're absolutely right. And I love that Saturday Night Live analogy because you're right. It's one of those things where I can imagine you don't necessarily have a concept that you're really being this big change and influence on pop culture until well after the fact. When you're in the moment, you're just trying to do the best damn job that you can. And that speaks to sort of the immediacy of how we need to live our lives and how we need to be as creatives just to be able to put fantastic and beautiful stuff out there. I mean, at the end of the day, it's Rue's universe and we're living in it. And that's a
Hmm.
beautiful thing. And I love it. But,
I'm so thankful to be alive at the same time as Rue and to be able to learn from Rue, create with Rue, be inspired by Rue, and like have dreams come true together, whether it's Drag Race or Stop That Train or Queen of the Universe or any of these iterations. We're just dreaming together. And it is amazing when it affects culture. It is amazing when it cuts through. But everyone's just trying to like achieve their dreams together.
and that's a beautiful thing. But I mean, honestly, Leland, thank you for the work and just congrats on everything with the show and everything you've done. And just again, thank you for the insight and the time today. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Great questions.
You're very welcome. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
And don't forget to visit our friends over at Bay Street Video for all your DVD, Blu-ray rental, or purchasing needs this summer, as they are still open for curbside and some mailing delivery as well. Over at 1172 Bay Street, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, you can give them a call at 416-964-9088. That's 416-964-9088. Or send them an email at baystreetvideoto@gmail.com for any of your DVD and Blu-ray needs.